My name is Reggie. I'm about kicking ass. I'm about taking names. And we're about making games.
That's the game. That's the game.
Dang!
This big, powerful guy.
Gotta be first.
Good night.
So how different is it from the old Mario games? Well, take a look. There's really no comparison.
If you've got an ass, I'll kick it!
On the bayou!
Oh, my, oh. Yahoo!
Get over here!
Do the Mario!
Gamers, what's going on, guys? Good to see you. Happy Wednesday. How are you? How you doing? I'm America's #1 online video game personality, Ben the Parvinator Parvin, here at your service and here to welcome you to the Gaming Lifestyle Lounge. You're here once again.
That's what I'm talking about.
Or maybe for the first time. Who knows? Good to see you. Welcome, Ryzone. What's up, buddy? Happy Wednesday. How you doing, man? We have gathered here today, dearly beloved, to play a game that is, well, dearly beloved to many of us. Chrono Trigger. I mean, I know some of you guys stay triggered. Even though this is, I gotta say, one of my favorite games of all time. You know, I was telling my partner this the other day, like, I haven't really played it that many times. I mean, it's maybe like, you know, a handful of playthroughs and that's it. It's a fairly short game. To be so high up on my list, you know, maybe if you looked at the total playtime, there'd be some other games that would be higher that I would maybe have forgotten about. Welcome, Ryzone. Welcome. Your first time here, buddy. Good. I was going to say good to see you, but yeah, good to meet you, I should say. Welcome.
Why, you're getting nervous, man.
How you doing? I hope you're enjoying your first time. Do, 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 do. Hey, do, do. Instead of the hey, maybe it'd be good if you had the huh right there, but I didn't think about that in the moment, you know? Well, guys, we've got quite a treat lined up for you today. We're going to pop back into Chrono Trigger. This is going to be part 2 of an ongoing saga for us. We didn't make it that far the last time, and it's because these first couple streams, I want to take some time to, I don't know, like, you know, explore the instruction manual. I want to watch some hype. We did that on Monday. That was a good time. Took a look at the Japanese instruction manual. Told you guys the story of me picking this game up so long ago. One of a few titles I bought at the same time. A few were all complete in box, and they were really cheap at the time. And yeah, I came home with a decent haul. This was maybe circa 2006. Just a couple I grabbed today that will be part of a little something we're going to do. But yeah, I used to do these a little more often, but I'm trying to get back into the habit of sprinkling them in. We're going to do a segment in just a bit. This is, I threw some stuff together kind of last minute on this one, so they'll be as loose as they always are. Oh yeah. Well, so anyway, yeah, you know how it is, right? Don't expect it to be a nice, tightly written, you know, straight to the point. That's not what we do here. We're hanging out. Picture yourself in a whatever's comfortable to you. Maybe it's a bean bag, right? You know, and you've got like a 64 controller in your hand. Picture a beverage of choice nearby. If you don't have those things, I guess you could get them right now. But that's essentially that's what I'm. That's the atmosphere we're trying to put on here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe your stomach feels kind of weird. But I don't want to put that on anybody. I guess I'm really just trying to set the scene for me, you know, like sitting down for some gaming as a kid. Yeah, you ate too much of something, you know, you snuck a couple Oreos when the parents weren't looking, and so you got that working in the background, but you know, you're getting through it. All right, well, without further ado, I say we jump into the good old days. Let me take you guys back. Let's go back to 1995, shall we? Let's go.
Yeah, what up, Council? My name is Chad Kroger.
Welcome, guys. Well, here it is, 1995. Again, this game is, to me, I don't know, it hits at such an interesting time in the chronology and history of gaming for many reasons here. One of the things I realized yesterday was like, oh yeah, well, the PlayStation is already out at this point, you know? Chrono Trigger being one of those late stage Super NES games, one that was just, really solid, you know, and managed to squeeze a lot of juice out of the Super NES. I say sometimes that it's hard to believe that this game is on the Super NES, and it's not so much like graphics, although if you compare this stuff to like the earliest, the earliest era of Super NES, sure, it's not so much that, it's the entire package. There's just a great execution here. It really punches above its weight, and I think that there's a lesson for some of us too, especially if you came around to RPGs a little bit late, and you had to kind of backtrack and sort of pick up on it later. That they were doing some amazing things with RPGs even back in the 8-bit era. I mean, I've recently gotten into Dragon Quest and stuff. That'll come up here in a bit, and I'll just say I keep having this feeling of like, wow, they were pulling off more than I ever thought they were pulling off, and it flowing better and like than I could have imagined an 8-bit thing. Because for me, I had to work backwards. Chrono Trigger was one of those early ones. Pokemon being like my first RPG, and then playing Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI around the same time, and yeah. But this game dropped in 1995. I wouldn't get around to it for a few years. A buddy of mine would lend it to me. But yeah, we got the copy here. Yeah, released in Japan, March 11th, 3/11, baby. Came out in. Where's my 3/11 sound clips? Jeez, I know we got some good ones. Anyway, We'll just have to settle for this. Can never find them when I'm looking for them. So it came out in March 11th, 1995 in Japan, and then later that year, August 11th, was the North American release. Very different box art there, eh? Now, we covered a little bit of this on Monday, so I'll be quick through this and, you know, through titles, releases, and all that stuff. It got a couple of re-releases as well. Get to that in a bit. But what was so big about this game? I got to thinking about this for a few reasons. Of course, everyone talks about the dream team that made this. And in fact, early on, this was being labeled in the media as a dream project. It quickly, they were using that phrase, the dream team, as well. That's because it was headed up by three folks who had already really made their name when it came to JRPGs and other media as well. But this is essentially a super group, is part of what made this game and this release so big. A lot of this stuff, you know, in outside of Japan, there just wasn't the... There was a hardcore contingent of folks who played RPGs, but it hadn't gotten to such widespread levels. Games like FF7 would really help it get there, you know. And I think a lot of folks would backtrack and play games like Chrono Trigger, FF6, whatever, you know, go back and get what they missed. But in Japan, this was such a hugely hyped release. Right off the bat, just based on the names that were attached to it. And again, this is similar to like a super group. This is the Crosby, Stills, and Nash of gaming. Folks from different groups coming together and combining combining their forces for the good of all mankind. So we've got Akira Toriyama, bottom left there. Of course, the mind and the pin behind Dragon Ball. Yuji Horii up there on the top with the sunglasses, as always. It's a nice look, bud. Like your style. Yuji Horii from Dragon Ball. Again, sort of main scenario writer, main creative force behind non-music stuff for quite a while with Dragon Ball. Still, I think, kind of leading force. Gets the final say. Yeah. They were Rhizone, and I like how these characters are in the game. Absolutely. Bottom right, you've got Hironobu Sakaguchi from Final Fantasy fame, among many others. And I got to thinking about the timing of this coming out in Japan, you know, March 1995. I'll get to that in just a bit, but yeah, look at this. There you go. So this is similar to the sprites that you see in the game. There is an ending in the game that allows you to go in and actually talk to these guys, and it's interesting. Apparently, like this game, there was quite a bit of crunch, but I think the folks behind it have like fairly fond memories of it and knew that what they were putting together was coming together really well, and it's great. So yeah, you had Sakaguchi there, Horii and Toriyama, again known as this dream team. Horii and Toriyama, of course, they had previously partnered many times to do all the Dragon Quest stuff. Toriyama was the again behind, you know, Dragon Ball, DBZ, etc. Many other stuff too. I love Toriyama, but yeah. Those two were already very much, I mean, all three of those names were a known quantity. Those two had a very close working relationship already and had worked together on all those Dragon Quest games. And to make a long story short about Dragon Quest in Japan, I've learned to really respect the legacy that it has there. And it's about as much as some of those early Mario games kind of became such a pop cultural thing that someone who doesn't really play games still would recognize a Mario jumping sound or a mushroom, you know, or something. You know what I mean? Like, to a similar extent, Dragon Quest has a sort of lasting pop culture legacy that is much bigger than games and expands beyond games within Japan. You see the iconography from the games in a lot of places. This was an ad, you'd see often there just by default, just by way of it being Japan, these JRPGs getting really big promotions that you just don't see here. You know, maybe a very limited thing here, or maybe like if the publisher or something has like an American store or something, they might do one thing up. But there's just so many promotions, tie-ins with, I mean, this one is in a subway station here, but yeah, tie-ins with, you know, stores, right, etc., etc. It's everywhere. There's some of the common convenience stores there. It's like a little jingle to hear some of the Dragon Quest sounds. It's just background, so even if you never played the game before, you're just hearing it. It's just there. I mean, these two, all three of these folks, really, it's kind of like Japanese gaming royalty, even at this point. And I think them coming together at the time was realized for what a big deal it was. I'm growing to love Dragon Quest. I recommend it to you guys. Give one of those games a shot sometime. There's a JRPG, like distilled to a very fun, pure version of like a JRPG. I think Dragon Quest really hits that with a lot of those entries. Man, my first one was playing 3 back on the Game Boy Color for a little bit, but I didn't know what I was doing. It didn't last very long. I think, like many people, I picked the game up because I realized Toriyama was the artist. And that was, of course, huge for me. You know, so the Toriyama appeal, right? Once DBZ really started to get big in the US, I think putting Toriyama's stamp, putting his signature look on almost anything began to get began to grow in popularity here. So again, the timing of all this, if the game's coming out in 1995, Chrono Trigger is, you have Dragon Quest VI just on the horizon. It's certainly being hyped. It got this was released in December of 95. So as people are looking forward to Chrono Trigger, they're also looking ahead to Dragon Quest VI. I feel like the timing on it was good promotionally for all the people involved, for the folks from Square and the folks from Enix, you know, Hori and Toriyama, etc. I think that the timing for those folks was really good. You had interest in Dragon Quest VI, a lot of hype building in that. That would come out later that year. I mean, it's a good time to be a JRPG fan in Japan. JRPG fan in Japan. FF6 is still smoking hot. It had come out the previous year. So, what, 1994 for Final Fantasy VI? You know, both of those franchises are, at this point, just... They've both had... One's got a huge entry coming up, another one just had a very landmark game. One that will set them up for FF7, which will really put them on the map worldwide. Yeah. So, back to... Excuse me. Losing my voice here. Back to Chrono Trigger itself. I think a lot of Westerners... So, there was some popularity behind this. You know, there were folks who were... there were folks in the US and elsewhere outside of Japan who were into JRPGs. They had a dedicated core there. And it did grow over time. Some things like the Dragon Warrior... Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Welcome, Francisco. I can't talk. I lost my voice. So, yeah. I just get so excited, guys. I get so choked up going back to the old days. You know, man, just brings me back, brings a tear to my eye too right now. Rhizome, they were, man. I love your last comment too. So I think a lot of folks in the West, if you didn't play Chrono Trigger already, then by the time it came out for the PlayStation, that was another chance for you. In 2001, the company Tosei did a port for the PS1, and a version of that would come out in Japan. Then they would do one in North America that same year. This one would be paired with Final Fantasy IV, and they'd call it FF Chronicles. This got a little different between Japan and US. I think maybe Japan released a Chrono Trigger only re-release, or, you know, and then here again they put it as part of this FF Chronicles. Some interesting stuff. There were a couple of compilation discs that just had different sets of games in them between Japan and North America around this time. They just wouldn't get on the same page with, you know, releasing the same games. Yeah, even though at this time they had done away with the distinction between, like, you know, the games being on different numbers and stuff. Yeah, so it's huge timing, right? I think for some folks, this coming in 2001, again, that lines up really well with popularity of DBZ and Toriyama anime in general just getting very big. I remember my cousin getting this version of the game, and it had some extra cutscenes in it. I don't know if you guys have any familiarity with this or have seen those, but we're gonna watch a commercial in a little bit for the PS1 version that has some of those, some of the cutscenes there, the anime cutscenes. And then some of you may have played the DS version of this. I've never touched this one. It looks cool. This one was also done by Tosei. The port to DS was done by Tosei, released in 2008 in both Japan and North America. And cool. Once again, funny they're sort of going back to that box art from the North American release, right? I know that's a really cool scene. I like it, even with Marl shooting fire for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't know, the simplicity of this one's pretty sweet too. You gotta love it. Yeah. Well, we'll come back. Got one more thing to show about this, but yeah, I just wanted to cover some of the hype. I think I've got a couple commercials lined up for you as well. But yeah, I hope you guys like that. I think you know, this game, again, I think it's meant a lot to a lot of people. I also think having those names attached to it, it's kind of fun to think about how hyped this was. And I think if at the time, if I'd known this was going on, or if I'd been into Japanese RPGs, I would have been so excited. And then once it was explained to me that it was folks from two of those big franchises, it's like, okay, well, that makes sense why this game is a home run. You know, the best at Squaresoft, the best at Enix. This is pre-merger, so maybe projects like this helped them all come together later. Who knows? Or maybe that was just a hostile takeover. I don't know. All right, let's step aside for just a second. We'll watch these videos. Let's head here. You want to see the... let's see some commercials for this thing. We're going to start with a couple Japanese commercials. Well, actually, they're all Japanese. We'll start with a couple for the Super NES, or, you know, Super Famicom launch. And then I've got one for the PlayStation that includes some of the anime clips. Let's do it. Here we go. Chrono Trigger. We'll let it loop. Dream Projecto. I just, you know, from the beginning. All together, if you watch all these commercials, you have some pretty gnarly spoilers. But then again, I guess the game's like intro sequence does that anyway, so you've already got that. But yeah, pretty sweet here. And you'll notice when we play the next one too, they call it Dream Project, and then it name checks those three folks we've been talking about. Let's take a look at another one. It's pretty sweet.
ドリームプロジェクト、ドラゴンボールの鳥山明、ドラゴンクエストの堀井雄二、ファイナルファンタジーの坂口裕信。
Yeah, it's just name of the game or thing that they do and then their name.
今時空を超えるクロノトリガー予約キャンペーン実施中。ドリームプロジェクト、ドラゴンボールの鳥山明、ドラゴンクエストの堀井雄二、ファイナルファンタジーの坂口裕信。僕らの夢が今時空を超える。
Pretty sweet.
クロノトリガー予約キャンペーン実施中。
I love it. Yeah, I don't know. That's good stuff. So yeah, there's one more too. I'll show the one from PS1. Oh yeah, I don't know. I like these. I think it's funny. That's also an alternate version of a song in the game. I mean, that like main theme in the game that plays the. Yeah, it's like right at the intro, you know, and that's a kind of a cool little version of it. Some folks in the comments were asking about that. I've got one more for you. This was for the launch of that PS1 version. And I'll just show it because it also has, it both makes some reference to the whole Dream Project stuff. And remember, this is, 6 years later, I guess. Yeah, right? The PS1 version was in 2001. So 6 years later, it already kind of has this legacy. It's the next generation. They're putting it out on PlayStation and they're looking back on something that was already, some would already say, right? It's already a dip into nostalgia, a first wave of nostalgia. So let's check it out. It's from the same source there.
あの伝説がプレイステーションで動き出す。ドリームプロジェクト完全版。
ドリームプロジェクト。99 for PlayStation. Oh, I had the year wrong on that, didn't I? Well. So just 99. Okay. Well, don't listen to me. Pretty sweet, right? I don't know. I like that. I don't know. But yeah, one more thing for you. I'll drop back here for just a second. Yeah. That's a whole lot said about the game. I'm looking forward to playing it. But yeah. It's funny. I'm seeing like some old things in here talking about the 64DD, and there was one I never did. I was talking about. I was gonna do a segment on Nintendo World Championship or whatever came out somewhat recently. Yeah, good stuff. The game means a lot to a lot of people. Again, I don't know. It's kind of fun. I didn't catch any of the original hype. I think in the US that hype was very muted just because JRPGs weren't that popular. They had a cult following, but they just hadn't blown up. Oh yeah, I don't know, it's fun. Thank you guys for taking a little trip back to the good old days with me. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed that. I'd like to do some more of these too. And the other day, if you didn't see it and you're interested, we took a look at the Japanese instruction booklet for Chrono Trigger. You got the picture of it up there in the top there, but did that on Monday. So did a little segment towards the beginning on that if you guys want to see it. Had a lot of fun doing that. I love this kind of stuff too. I got to mix it in with the gaming, got to mix it in. So yeah, thanks for hanging. All right, guys, without further ado, why don't we drop into the game? Let me get it set up. All right, let's do it. Let's drop in. So we were working on this chapter, The Queen is Gone. We're back in 600 AD, trapped in the past. Haven't made a whole lot of progress in the game because I like to talk about these games too. And once I get in, it's just fun to take your time, you know. Okay, you know, we got some money already, so I'm just gonna go heal up at the inn, and then we were working our way through this chapel. Glad you guys are here. Welcome. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, I gotta talk to you.
Thanks for coming out, guys. This rocks. A Wednesday, huh?
I am a very happy... I'm a very happy man right now. We got the Wii working. So to speak. I broke the disk drive, and then I learned how to play all of my favorite backups of all my favorite games that I own. And now the Wii is able to play those games, even though I broke the disk drive on it, sadly. So we just got in here and we were working our way through it. I think we had done this room maybe, and that's about it. It wasn't much more. Okay, yeah, I think there's a trap you can hit somewhere else to lower those, or switch. Let's get you equipped, buddy. Steel saber, nice. A power glove, huh? Oh yeah, I need to put some things on P. I need to... This is an RPG, I need to treat it as such every now and then. You know, equip something, actually play the game. There's something else I was seeing. I might give him the bandana. Wait, what's the power glove do? Bandana's speed +1. I see. Okay. Do 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 do. There's a main hallway there. I think the switch we want is kind of on the right, up the stairs to the right there. Diablos and a Gnasher. Excuse me. Take him out. Should be a nice chill stream. Thanks for hanging, guys. I think I'm still feeling a little under the weather. I've been sick off and on for a couple weeks now. My partner was really sick. Oh, those are like the fake folks. I'll deal with them in a second. Burp. Hey, what's with the disguise? No need for them here. Oh, funny. Burp. The ones we ate recently weren't so bad, and those 2 soldiers we caught look rather plump and juicy. Yakra's so smart. His plan to capture the Chancellor and take his place worked perfectly. Now the Queen's captive and the castle's in an uproar. I like how he's just explaining the whole... This is some very, like, we're not really thinking about operational security here very much, is he? Yakra's so smart. His plan to capture the Chancellor and take his place worked perfectly. Whoops. I must equip something. Now the Queen's captive and the castle's in an uproar. This is rich. He's just loving it, dude. It's almost my shift. I hate pretending to be human. It's so repulsive. I know, dude. I'll look in on Magus' statue before my shift. That's right. So he goes and he shows you that, like, yeah. Oh, totally, Kevin. Yeah, they're in there partying it up. I didn't even call that out either. I didn't notice. But yeah, they are in there partying it up, huh? How nice of you to come. I'm sure Yakra will be just as pleased. Hello. Why not rest in here until he's available? Yeah, we'll just rest in here. There was no need for you to come rescue me. The Master Yakra is very kind. I've decided to stay here. Now, why don't you make yourselves at home, too? Are you here to save Queen Lean? Oh, what a relief. Wow, everyone's so happy to see us. I think they... Don't they... Yeah. Do. Don't be in such a hurry. Enjoy yourselves first. Hee hee. Whoa.
Hello.
Nashers. Yeah, how's your playthrough going, Kevin? Hope you're still enjoying it. Got one of these. Oh, nice. Cyclone killed it. The fire cyclone. Do. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. We watched a few ads earlier. Watched a few commercials from the Chrono Trigger release. All Japanese. 2 of them from Super Famicom, and then 1 from the PS1 days when it has all the, like, anime cutscenes and stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, the PS1, that must have been, like, 9... So I got that wrong. I guess that released, they released for the PS1 in Japan in 95. Or no, not 95, 99 earlier. And then 95 for the original Super Famicom release. I dig the dates. Stop, intruders, gack! I'll stumble around and find it. I remember there being some switch or something around here that will lower those spikes. It's funny because certain aspects of this game I can really remember, but then there's some holes in there too. It's a bit vague, especially since I haven't played this game in many years. Nice.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first release was, well, you know, the version we're playing here, Super Famicom version, was 95. It's a, you know, kind of a late stage Super NES, Super Famicom game. Last couple years of the system. I wonder when it was that I first played it, but it would have been around the time of its... It would have been around like... Yeah, it probably was around the time the PS1 version came out or something like that. I want to look this up real quick. Hold on, because I was looking up Final Fantasy Chronicles earlier. And, let me see. I got to clear this up, only for myself. Final Fantasy Chronicles was, yeah, it had FF4 and Chrono Trigger on it, yeah, and it was released in 2001 in North America. Wow. Okay, so I think that Chrono Trigger released for PS1, in Japan like a couple years earlier, 99. It was ported to the PlayStation in 99 as a standalone title in Japan, and 2001 as part of the Final Fantasy Chronicles compilation. So I'm probably playing it around like 2000 or so, 2001, something like that. A buddy of mine lent it to me, the middle school. He had the cartridge, and he was, yeah, it was very, very kind of him. He lent me his cart, and we were talking on Monday. The cartridge was really expensive. They charged a lot for RPGs, even a long time ago. You know, easily could pay. What am I doing? You know, 70 or get them all. You know, $70 in money for that time. You know, and those dollars at that time. So, you know, with inflation, you're looking at quite a bit more. I forgot there was a save point here. Sweet. I think for me, it was just that the instant connection was, it was the art style, and I had played, I think I had played Final Fantasy VI at that point, before I got to Chrono Trigger, because I bought FF3, I have it down there, the Super NES cartridge that says Final Fantasy III on it, you know, all the naming issues. It was known as 6 in Japan. So I had played that. I had bought that at a used game store at some point during the 64 era. Hello. Yeah. First game was original NES Super Mario Bros. Cool. Yeah, actually mine too. Yeah. Majora's Mask is one of my favorite. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites of all time. I just finished a playthrough of that a couple weeks ago. And first one in a couple years, but prior to that it had been, you know, over a decade since I played. One of the things that I'm kind of with some of these games, so I'm playing a lot of NES, Super NES, and then 64, and up to GameCube through like the time that I'm, you know, in public school, right? K through 12. GameCube was like the last system that came out while I was still in high school and stuff, and so it's interesting to think about, like, at that time, like, it was really easy to get games from, like, a generation prior, and they were so cheap, because at that time, none of that stuff was considered retro. It was just kind of old, you know? And I remember when I finally got a Super NES, and this was after I'd already had a 64 and stuff, finally got my Super NES, and it was, you know, I was able to buy a lot of games for really cheap. I bought Final Fantasy III at the time, you know, the North American version, right? FF3. And it was at a used game store, and at the time that was already kind of pricey, and was like, because Final Fantasy 7 and 8, or maybe 8 hadn't come out at that point, I don't know, but FF7 had really, and Pokemon had both like really brought RPGs to America, made it much bigger. Prior to that, you had a really dedicated fan base for them. It just wasn't that big. And they're at the mercy of whatever gets a translation, or, you know, lots of fan translations for a lot of Japanese RPGs. The Japanese only, you know. Yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun to... It was really easy to go back and play games from a generation or two ago. You know, buy the physical cart and everything. Man, maybe more than the cart, but there weren't a lot of complete in boxes around They had North American, you know, thrift stores and stuff. Most folks were throwing their boxes away. So if you went to thrift stores or flea markets, you're typically buying a loose cart. Not always. Do 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 do. 420 gold. Lucas, level up. It's kind of funny how it's like Lucas level up, you know, apostrophe S there. This is the switch we want, I believe. Yeah. Who wants to fight? Anybody? You guys don't want to fight me? Do do do. Do 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 do. I like some of the creative ways they had the enemies enter the scene. It's fun, you know, playful. Oh, totally. Yeah, the manuals didn't stand a chance lots of times. There were some games that I kept some of that stuff for, like, you know, way longer than others. I had, like, my Pokemon Red box and everything that went with it for a good amount of time. I think if we drop down here, we kind of loop. Yeah, you sort of drop back to the bottom of the loop or whatever. How are we doing on magic? You know, I might actually, we're okay. I don't have a tent, we're okay, though. I'm just gonna get us healed up a little bit. Yeah, some of the stuff I kept significantly longer than others, like Pokemon Red. I don't know. Oh shoot, I don't know, you know, I guess I just kind of knew, or the game was special enough to me to where I wanted to keep it all, or knew I should keep it all. I don't know. Going slow here. I want to hit him with the, you know what I want to do? I want to hit him with the Fire Whirl. It's taking forever to get everybody's meters up. I'll take them out. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. The packaging for Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, all those, even that first gen was just so good. It was really, a cut above. I think we just play the organ here, right? Oh, no, yeah, no worries at all, Rhizone. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, not like you. Yeah. I'm just happy to have you guys in whenever you're around, you know? Thanks, man. Yeah, most of mine was too, Kevin. There's a couple things that I kept. Some to this day. I still have some GameCube games. Box, manual, everything. And maybe a Wii era too. Yeah. I'll play it again.
Hello.
So it opens up a door somewhere else for us. I can't remember where, but we'll find it. Maybe I should have gone down and saved. Ding dong 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 dong. I think the door's like there, isn't it? So, oh. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally, Kevin. I think it's I think a lot more people, if they had known that, would have thought about it too, you know? And space issue too, and also, you know, a lot of this stuff we're talking, many of us are kids, so you don't exactly, you know, you're not exactly running the show when it comes to what the things you buy, what packaging you get to keep, right? I guess that's part of it too. And also, I think at one point, you know, I also, like, I've gone through a couple of collections of things. Like, I have had I had a childhood NES, not counting the one that got replaced. They had to, like, send one into the repair place. But yeah, me and my big sis, we had a childhood NES. That one was at some point sold off in a yard sale or something. I would pick another one up when I got into high school, keep that for a handful of years. And it eventually, I thought I had to downsize once again. I was moving to a much smaller apartment. And I got rid of a bunch of stuff that honestly I didn't need to, and I'm still kind of kicking myself about it. It's just stuff. It ultimately doesn't matter. What frustrates me is that I really didn't need to throw it out, you know? So it's like, I didn't really save any space. So it was kind of just like, well, shit, why did I do that? But over time, I ended up, like, building that back in a much different way. I bought a Famicom, and I started buying Japanese games. So now the selection is very different. I still have a couple of NES games, but it's a whole bunch of Famicom stuff, and this time I'm not trading it. Well, we'll see. I'll never say never, but you know, it is just stuff ultimately. But if I can keep it around, I'd like to. I could maybe just get him with the... Nah, it's quick enough. Just 2 hits like this. Oh, actually, that won't take her out, huh? Oh, whatever. We don't have to be super efficient at this point in the game, especially. You know, one cool thing about Toriyama, he seems like he really liked to draw monsters too, and I like that about him. He wasn't just you know, human-centric only. A lot of monsters, a lot of course, just watching Dragon Ball, you see some similar styles of monster. Dragon Quest. A lot of the imp that he does, like there's an imp style that's very common that he'll draw. That stuff was like already going pretty strong in Dragon Quest and would get used in this game too. And he seems to like drawing machines too. A lot of good concept art of Robo. Cool stuff of the well, a certain vehicle that appears in the game. I'm just laying back, chilling this time. What up? Oh, funny. Yeah. You know, I was thinking Final Fantasy when you said desert and big leeches. Because, yeah, some pretty strong imagery in just like FF6 with that. You know, the big, yeah. Big, like, you know, just the one, the one gnarly sucker with a bunch of teeth coming out of it. Mystic Quest is an interesting one. I had a friend who had that back in the day and enjoyed it a lot. He played it. He was like the only person I knew that had the game, and yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's very much you can tell that it's kind of designed to be like baby's first RPG, you know? Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go, Rhizome, perfect. I think it was even made with the intention of it being for kids, and then they were like, hey, also, we can put this out in the West, since, you know, they're not that great at RPGs and don't seem to like them that much. So I think it kind of came to the US for those purposes, to kind of wet people's whistles. Oh yeah, such a fun one, Kevin. Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of fun of playing, a lot of fun memories of playing Mega Man and similar like really actiony games. So fun, just trying to get through a level or something with friends, passing the controller off, stuff like that. Yeah. I had a cousin that we always joked, and we ended up going to the same college for a little while too, and roomed together during that time. And well, yeah, I always joke that, you know, he's my ultimate rival, or I would just be cheesy about that, you know, I'm like, oh, my rival. But he was really good at games, and we played a lot of the same stuff and turned each other on to a lot of, so that we ended up like playing a lot of the same games over time, because we're talking about, you know, we're close friends and talking about movies and games and stuff. So it was I have really fond memories of playing a lot of Mega Man games with my cousin. Pokemon, Star Fox, Zelda. All right, so we got a serious scene here. Our Marl has now, you know, of course, we've all been sent back in time. She was discovered, and they were like, oh, this must be the missing Queen Lean. She's here. At this point, we watched Marl rip apart. I think we're actually seeing the real Queen Lean, who has been kidnapped by Yakra here. He's taken advantage of this situation. We're about to fight this Chancellor, who we've already learned is actually Yakra in disguise. Did a terrible job of explaining all that, but yeah. This is the real Queen Lean. We need to save her because if she dies in this situation here, then Marl never exists. We saw her rip apart. Some fun like time paradox stuff of, yeah. Because they found Marl, they called off the search for Queen Lean. Queen Lean then went on to die in this situation. We've got to stop that from happening. So it's funny how early in the game they get into like how the actions of the past change. You know what I mean? It's really interesting how the first time you do any time travel, they show you instantly that it's consequential and that you know, you will change things in other eras. So. Yeah, shout out to all the cousins out there. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I miss my cousins. Yeah, it's useless to fight. No one will leave here alive.
Hello.
Stupid frog, it's time you jumped off this mortal coil. True form, change. You know, we never went into that one room that had the spikes. Probably okay. It was like sort of northwest of the area. Look at Yakra here. I remember as a kid not really seeing those horns and seeing them as eyes. But yeah, no, the eyes are underneath that. What you've got on top is horns. Eyes followed by, you know, a nice, a beautiful smile, picture day. Looks like me. Look at him. Reverts to Yakra. Sweet little sprite design there. It looks a lot like these Dragon Quest enemies. That's a rock. I forget what it's called, but that looks. It's totally. Must have been the inspiration for Geodude and, you know, Golem, etc. Shout out to the cousins, the gaming cousins. A A lot better than other. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. We're fighting Yakra. You can see too. So he goes into this crawly form here, and look at the patterns on his back too, and he's kind of got these like sort of ridges or whatever that will put out some kind of smoke, or I think it shoots out spikes and things. But yeah, this is a pretty gnarly looking boss. You know, probably should have done something with our MP, but that's okay. I know, Rhizone, you're blessed like that.
What's going on, man?
Try Fire Whirl maybe, and then we're looking okay health-wise. Make sure I keep Luca in the game. Show me your moves. I hope it was with the like pose and everything. Oh god. Oh shoot, I did X strike, didn't I? Okay. Luca, help me. I screwed that up. I hope Chrono survives this. Okay. Oh shoot, I gave it to the wrong person. Okay. It's okay. I can fix this. So if he's further out, he'll do his counterattack. I guess that's the play here. Forgot about that. Okay, I see. So Frog is out of magic here. Slurp yourself, Frog. Chrono still has MP. He needs to be doing techniques. Wait, I guess he doesn't. Never mind. It's Chrono that's out of MP. Whoops. Yeah, obviously. Okay. Alright, everybody, do your job. I'm gonna keep slurping here. Oh, actually... Nice. Goodbye. I love the, like, death animation there.
Goodbye.
Nothing like the music continuing to play, and then, you know, you get into these, the level ups, the experience gain. It's funny because most games would give you a victory music there or something. It's a nice touch because when it finally happens, the menu goes down and then you see Chrono gain, blah, 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 you know. Obviously, with some of the storyline fights, the enemy might say something before they do all that, or, you know. But a lot of the boss fights, yeah, they'll keep that music playing, and then you know that you beat them often, yeah, by that explosion thing, and then, yeah, then it just saying, you know, your experience gained. It's fun, man. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Kevin, are you playing the one that's just called Pokemon Stadium, North American version? You came to rescue me. Thank you, Frog. The king awaits. Oh, Rhizome, let me read your thing. Oh, I loved your Captain Falcon thing. I want to read the other one. Another guy was nearby and said, how'd you guys do that? That was like choreographed or something. The other guy did do the pose right away, but I was kind of late on that part. Yeah. So you didn't show him your moves. Or you did. There's a bit of hesitation, which I can understand, you know. You didn't know how far he was going to go. Show me your moves. Yeah, right. Yeah, the words are right there. You just didn't show the move, you know. Sweet. Oh. Phew, thank you. That monster stuffed me in there. I always forget about him. Oh, Your Highness, as you can see, I am undamaged. I love that, Rhizone. And, you know, I also love when people can say the same thing together. I'm hoping no one did the ditto thing, or did they? Did you just like kind of like, oh, that's funny, we said it at the same time? Sometimes people can kill it with a jinx or whatever, you know. Jinx, personal. Thankfully, I think getting out of school helped. I ended up having a lot fewer situations where someone suddenly goes, jinx. I love it. Yeah, that's awesome, Rhizone. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so yeah, so how were you guys playing? Was at the time you're saying y'all were playing on the 64? I was a little confused at first. I was thinking it was like just now like a emulator kind of thing. But yeah, that was what was so cool about those games. Yeah, if you had the transfer pack, you could bring your team over. And I think that was what really sold those games for a lot of kids was, I can see my team in 3D. Also, if you just didn't have the Pokemon games, but you had a 64, you take what you could get. You know, you're getting your Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium, and yeah, that was always interesting to me. The kids that like didn't come to Pokemon by way of like a main series game, but through. This isn't to say to mention your situation, Kev. Just kind of like on a tangent here, but like there were a lot of folks who found Pokemon through something other than one of the mainline games. And maybe it was for a lot of people the anime, you know. But sticking to the games, for some people it was like, yeah, they're playing something like Pokemon Snap or Pinball first. Or that's just the first Pokemon thing they could get because you're a kid and you you don't exactly, you know, you don't exactly have an unlimited resources, you know. Yeah. The card game, yeah. You had me worried, Lean. That no-good Yakra impersonating me and kidnapping the queen. We must create a criminal justice system in this kingdom to do away with such fiends.
Goodbye.
Oh, I think Chrono Trigger is going to be Chrono Trigger. I think Chrono is going to be a victim of this criminal justice system in a little bit. The frog speaketh. I failed to protect Queen Lean. I have disgraced thee. Frog. Damn. Walked out. I'm glad you guys could have that connection, Rhizone. That no good Yakra impersonating me and kidnapping the queen. We must create a criminal justice system. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chrono. But who was that girl we found in the canyon? Your timing was perfect. Who knows what would have happened had you not saved me? By the way, where's the girl who was mistaken for me? Oh yeah, I forgot all about Princess Nadia. Chrono, where did she disappear? She may still be there. All right, so we're gonna go find Princess Nadia, aka Marl. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Kevin, that's funny. I remember some folks doing that, like, you know, because for me, it was like a first RPG, and, you know, I'm really, like, kind of dumb about it all. I think like a lot of kids, if you didn't have experience with those types of games, you kind of, you know, thankfully, a little bit of brute force you can kind of get through without even knowing things like type matchups that well, you know. But I remember a buddy who had just like, you know, yeah, sat down and just done some crazy leveling up. And I just remember being like, whoa, that's a thing you can do? You can actually just sit for hours and just try to level up your team? I had considered that. You know, I also, my first playthrough, though, I can't speak. It was the last day of 6th grade. And a buddy of mine showed me the, like, missing no trick. And while doing it, it spawned some glitched out, like, some glitched out Golbat that was, like, really strong. And, you know, it came at, like, level 99 or something, you know, or 100. Maybe even came at 100. I can't remember, but... that Golbat became the feature Pokemon on my team, and that day at school helped me defeat the Elite Four. I would go back and I'd go back and like try to correct that cheating and a little bit later, but all right, I'm not using my Golbat. So Marl just came back from the dead. I've been skipping some of this dialogue here for jokes. Yeah. But yeah, remember she had ripped apart before our very eyes, and that was because her ancestor had died thanks to our meddling with time. Us just showing up and her getting found, them calling off the search for the person who was actually the queen, therefore the queen died. We were able to just now prevent that scenario. So we go back to where Marl ripped into the fabric of space-time, just ripped apart into that. And here she is, reconstituted. And
uh-oh, looks like we've got company.
Hey, sounds like we got a raid coming in. Hey, Princess, welcome. How are you? Yeah, thanks for the raid. Yeah, come on in, guys. Come on in.
Oh, yes! 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 We got it, baby!
Hey, what were you guys playing? Welcome. We're doing a little Chrono Trigger right now. Yeah, welcome, guys. Welcome to the Gaming Lifestyle Lounge. I'm the Parvinator. We're kicking things off. We're getting into this game. Just our second session. We just really taking our time with it. Yeah. Clock Tower Rewind. Okay, cool. I've been seeing a couple people play that recently. Awesome. Yeah, I hope you had a good time. Thank you for the raid. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I was just talking a little bit of story of this game. You'll have to tell me if you're familiar with this game or if any of y'all know about it. But yeah, just kind of getting deep, a little into this story here. So yeah, we watched Marl rip apart because of, again, our meddling with with the timeline. So she's back, and now she's like, is that what it's like to die? Now that she's come back. I love all the like time paradox stuff that comes out of this game, and you know how silly it is, and it's a funny game because it's, you know, it can be really awesome. Yeah. Well, you know then how this game can be really silly, but like it also is extremely heartfelt. And I think sometimes the lightheartedness and the silliness of having these characters on the screen sometimes helps it even go to like when it does go to a place of hopelessness or something dark, or a character dies or you know, it really goes there, you know, it goes, it hits at a high emotional level that I think maybe you wouldn't, if you didn't know much about the game, you wouldn't know that it goes there. And just some fun stuff to think about too, you know. There's a lot of fun, I don't know, fun stuff to think regarding time travel and just the concept of Lavos. There's some really interesting stuff. So, you know, just really, really cool discussion about like what is Lavos, and yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I've been seeing a couple people play it, but I haven't actually checked in and seen what it looks like and everything. I'll have to check it out. I basically only know the title, and then I've just seen it with a couple streamers playing it. I just hear Clock Tower, of course. I think Majora's Mask. I'm Princess Nadia. My father's King Guardia, the 33rd. I really enjoyed being with you at the fair, but if you had known my identity... Chrono, you wouldn't have shown me around the fair, right? No, you kidding? We don't like you because you're the princess, Marl. Okay? We like you because you're awesome. You kick ass. You're great at magic. And you're not too shabby with the crossbow either. The real queen's safe, right? So let's go home, Chrono. Glitch Golbat found a Smashboards thread about it. Someone's avatar says, "Show me your news." Oh, perfect. A nice little synchronicity there, buddy. You guys leaving? Wherever you're heading, be careful. Which means the real Lean was somewhere else. It's exactly as I thought. The more I look at you, the stronger the resemblance. Uncanny. I suppose he's talking to Marl. There's a chest here, but there's a couple chests that, like, I think you want to wait and open them in another era, and it actually is better. I don't know. Let's go heal up. We'll go take a nap. I think it was downstairs. Oh, hey, Frog.
Give me a hell yeah!
'Twas a fault of mine which endangered the queen. I shall depart for good. Eek! I love the animation of his little throat. Indeed, your resemblance to the queen is uncanny. Chrono, you have potential to be a good swordsman. Nice. We'll be watching your career with great interest. Yeah, no, Rhizome, that's funny. The point of this thread is that it's not about missing, no. Yeah, that's funny. Well, yeah, we were trying to do the missing note thing, and we ended up hitting that. We ended up being able to do that and glitch out a bunch of rare candies, too. I forgot about that aspect of it. So, yeah, we got ourselves a bunch of rare candies. And a hooked up Golbat. That's funny that Golbat... It may be one of those common spawns if you're trying to do that there. What's funny is if you try to beat the I lost my train of thought there. Shit. I'm gonna go back and see what it was. Oh yeah, if you beat the Elite Four and you have the championship, you know, you like you go to the, you know, check out the data or whatever in that championship computer, or, you know, when everyone will look at the Hall of Fame. That's usually glitched out if you've done the missing no stuff. And certain ROM hacks will do that too. Yeah. You know, I'm not sure on that, Kevin. There are a couple of chests like that. I would say in general, don't worry about it. There is one thing gameplay-wise later to do with those, the chests that have the seal on them. There is something, without giving too much of a spoiler, there is a certain way that you could open those that will basically allow you to get that item a few times. And that may be worth looking into if you care, or if it's something, because gameplay wise, you can get some really good items from that, some great armor and stuff. So that's the main thing that I remember that could be like missable, or in that case you're not necessarily missing it, you're just not getting that item a few times versus, yeah, you know, one time versus being able to get a few of them. And you know, ultimately you'll still beat the game. It's just the game isn't really that hard. But when you want to get to some of the extra endings and stuff, you have to do a little min-maxing. And yeah, I wouldn't worry. I think there are a couple chests like what I was mentioning too that are there to wait, but again, yeah, I think you don't really miss much. Even if you missed all this stuff, it would be the game is still beatable, which I think is cool about this game. But yeah. Sounds good, Princess. Yeah, good luck with the charge, and thank you for the raid. I'm going to be taking a break here in just a bit. I appreciate you bringing a crew through, and yeah, hope you had a great stream. Thanks again for hanging.
When a problem comes along, you must whip it.
I think I'll get us out to the map again, and we'll save. And I'll get a break.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, that's our next step. You know, it's funny because I was actually thinking, I was trying to think of the sequence, Kevin, because it'd been a while since I played the game. And I had it, it's funny because I made one thumbnail and I realized like, oh, actually, no, I had some storyline beats mixed up, and I was thinking we were about to head further into the past, and I forgot that, oh yeah, at this point you do go into the future. Learns dual tech, Aura, and, well, we learned Aura and Aura Whirl. Those are helpful. Heal all, kinda. What the heck? Let's do one more, quote, random battle. I've been playing some Wind Waker, and first time in many years, and yeah, me and my wife are just like hanging out together and swapping the controller. We played it that way before. It was her first Zelda game. I'm really glad I got the Wii rolling again. And like I said, it's kind of strange. Most of the games I want to play, and most of the games that are just burning in my mind that I really want to get to lately that I haven't been able to play in years, it's GameCube games. Not so much Wii, but the Wii does play GameCube. That was always a nice thing. It's always a nice perk. But yeah, I decided to play Wind Waker in my own time. Maybe we'll do it on stream too, but you know, I love these Zelda games so much, and I haven't played Wind Waker in a long time. You know, it's nice to do it off camera sometimes too. I really enjoy, you know, hanging out and sharing games. Like I said, man, sometimes you need a little alone. We all need a little alone time, you know? Ain't that the truth? Boop, 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 boop. Doot, doot, doot. Yeah. Yeah, there's a sequence. Yeah, there's a sequence with that boss that'll make things a little bit easier. Yeah, fire it up again. After a little bit of leveling up, you might be able to, you know, at least eke by the boss or something. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember everything, but yeah, there's a couple bosses there where you need to you've got to help take out some sentries or some like smaller things first. I do love that theme, Rhizone. I haven't gotten to it just yet because we're still so early in the game. We only just met the King of Red Lions and we saved right after that, so. I love this music here. Just a little bit of woodblock. There's a lot of very simple percussion in this. You can hear it especially at the beginning when it loops. There's a little bit of tambourine in there. It makes for a really fun loop. I don't know, hearing the different percussion and the syncopation. Yeah, oh, totally, Kevin. Yeah. Yeah, for me, yeah, I skipped the Wii U, and I didn't get the full usage out of my Wii, really. Sorry, I just love this music. We'll take it back to the loop. I was really checked out by the time that, even before the announcement of the Wii U, and then I was saying this the other day, once it was announced, I was really, that's not the thing that's going to get me back into gaming, you know, or you know, like actively engaged in learning about new games, and it wasn't going to be the Wii U. That, you know, it sounds terrible I know that it's got its dedicated fans, but yeah, I wasn't playing much at the time, and it just, yeah, again, that wasn't going to be the thing to bring me in. What I was seeing, what I understood it to be, you know. All good. Yeah, see, I think a lot of, and so a big part of the issue here, it's not so much the Wii's fault as much as it is during that time I did stop. Like I just really, you know, I'm getting busy. As the Wii comes out, I'm in college, into working my first professional job as a teacher. You know, I'm not getting much time to play. Really and truly, I'm not. And then the off time that I had at that point, it was becoming deprioritized because I wasn't as inspired by the games I was playing, and wasn't inspired. I'm not like following any like new video game media at that time either. So I just kind of went into a black hole where it's like I'm playing the games I've had. I'll see things come out new occasionally, but a big part of it for me, I realized later, was part of what got me so out of the swing of like just knowing what was going on. Two parts. It was like not following internet media, and once that shifted from magazines and all that stuff, and I was already online and on forums and things for games, loved all that stuff, but once like YouTube came around, I didn't do that. I didn't go to that. I didn't watch any of that stuff. I totally unaware that there was so much video game content on YouTube that maybe I would have liked, but again, I don't know if I would have dedicated the time. I was out of it at that point. Yeah. I think so yeah, that was one reason, and then the other reason, I think because I had the Wii, and because I wasn't that engaged in finding out about new games, I was also missing stuff from that era that would come out on the PS3 and whatever Xbox equivalent. And there were a lot of franchises that got started during that era that are now they're on their third, fourth, fifth entry, whatever, you know, but like a lot of good franchises started and continued around that time. Some of which are, like I said, are the big names at this point. And I was checked out. I'm not playing any of the new stuff. And during college for a little bit, I roomed with a buddy that had an Xbox 360, and like he would play some Call of Duty on it, and we would drink beer and like pass the controller and stuff, and I would just try to go knife everybody. But you know, it was like, that was like my extent of playing that generation of games outside of the limited stuff I had for my Wii, you know. So honestly, you know, it is what it is, though. I feel like it helped. I loved games so much, and it did feel like such a huge part of my childhood, and a huge part of like everything I love pop culturally, or, you know, the references you make, the things you think about when something in life happens to you, and you think back on the movies you watched, or what, the books you read, or, you know, the references you had. It was so core to like, because I just had so much fun as a kid and as a teen and following it all and stuff. And I think that I was a bit burned out, and I do think that like having some time where I didn't, where I gave it, I just sort of set it aside for a little bit. When I came back, there was an additional like, okay, dude, I forgot how much I love video games. And not to say I've never been burned out other times, but I hear a lot of people talk about burnout, or especially if you're playing some, like, if you're kind of in the habit of playing some, like, daily game or something, or especially if you're just getting, like, goals, and you're going through the ropes on an MMORPG, you're just kind of turning on and playing, and you're not really loving it. Like, a lot of people kind of get into a rut, and, you know, maybe sometimes it is, like, you know, it could be helpful to step it down, and then it can mean a little bit more to you when you do make time for it, you know. I wasn't thinking that at the time, but that's how it played out, and it's just, you know, kind of my journey. The only thing I know. There was good stuff. The Mario. So the Wii did have some really good stuff. I think I played some of the biggest. What you mentioned there, and then not a whole lot outside of that in Wii Sports, and that was my issue. Yeah. Many a gamer kept going strong through that period, so it's a little bit indicative of it, just for me, my interest starting to personally wane, or at least my time and priorities, you know. Get her a dart gun. Boop, doot, beep, bop, 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 beep. I think if I'd gotten another system and still kept a little bit more of a hardcore thing going, it probably would have continued, maybe, you know. Yeah. I had too many papers to grade, though. Go home and what am I gonna go home and fire up the Xbox? You know, too many papers to grade. Those first few years working, man, it's just brutal. Working as a teacher and just having almost no help from any other staff, or, you know. And the day ends and I've got like, I haven't, you know, I know that I'm going to be there for hours to set up for the next day, and I'm watching like the veteran teachers. Some of them are like racing the kids out the door, you know? They're like, bye, see ya, as soon as the bell rang. And I'm just like, oh my God, all right, I'm going to be here for the next 4 hours trying to get prepared, and then I'm going to have to be back here at like 7 tomorrow morning. You know? Finish this one thing or do bus duty, you know. It's just like, oh my God. It wasn't a whole lot of time for playing games, sadly. All right, I'm rambling. Let me take that break. What a game. I love this one. It's fun. All right. Let's see. I'm just gonna... Funny that Marl, she's like in her rest mode already. Like lying down. Even out on the map, they'll do some different animations, huh? Yeah. I bet, yeah. Also hard, you know, I bet that's some whiplash too, working in a hospital and then going to college class or something, you know. I'm sure. I mean, doing any kind of serious work and then going to college where you're surrounded by some folks who still haven't yet worked a day in their life that's always a strange thing. And now as I get older too, I mean, I'm getting into my late 30s at this point, I've thought about going back to school or getting an advanced degree or something sometimes. And I think about, man, how... you know, if I had to go to a classroom with a bunch of 21-year-olds or something right now, I feel like I would, I'd feel so out of, I'd hang, you know, but I'd feel out of place for sure. And I would know what those older students felt and you know. But yeah, if you, I kind of remember that feeling, like even in college of, you know, being around some folks again, who still hadn't done anything resembling a job up until that point. And then the rest of us who were working through good portions of college and, you know. I remember at one point my dad was like, I'll help, you know, I have a little extra, I can help you if it's a great, you know, like, I don't want you going broke trying to go to school, you know. But I was like, you know what? I also want to be able to pay my rent and I want to be able to have my own spending money. So we're going to find a balance between work and school, baby. It can do that, Rhizone, yeah. I think it can be hard to adjust. You know, it's a very strange time. And it's not for everybody. Sometimes I wonder if I should have gone. I mean, I'm not using my degree in anything at this point, but I think ultimately I think for me it was a good idea, even if I don't use that degree. This looks cool. Green rag. All right, let's get a break in. Thank you so much for hanging. Sorry if I'm a little too rambly. It's fun. Fun to dip back into these times and think about some stuff I haven't thought about in a little while, you know? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, I know, yeah, it can be really strange because I simultaneously can feel very young, and then you can get around people and you can really feel, wow, okay, I can feel a good age differential right now, you know. So, you know, you can both feel like, oh, I feel overall young, youthful, excited, vibrant still, you know, I'm not old. And then I'll get in some situations sometimes where it's only comparatively that I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I feel like a grandpa compared to what I'm seeing right here. Yeah, right, Rhizone. That's funny. One of the things I like about adulthood, though, is eventually it tends to be kind of an equalizer with this sort of stuff, so that, you know, over time, those age differences aren't that much. And it makes me think about like my parents and grandparents and some of their like longtime friends or family friends that they would have. And there would be these kind of like, you know, okay, like for instance, you know, even just thinking about like my partner's family and, you know, her having grandparents that like have a pretty big difference in their age. And like they were all going to a theme park together. You know, grandparents were different side of the family, and yeah, it's like, you know, one is quite elderly, quite on up there in years, and then the other one is elderly and has been elderly for a while, but between them there's a 15-year difference, you know. And it's kind of funny because it's like, to all of us it was like, oh, well, those kind of differences over time, you know, they don't seem as big. And yeah, who knows, maybe it'll be different though if you grew up with a phone in your face, you know, from the beginning. Totally, Rhizome. Yeah, memories. All right, this is fun. Happy Wednesday, guys. Thank you for hanging, and yeah, thanks for keeping it fun and lighthearted, being good people. When we get back, we'll play a little Chrono Trigger. We'll get back to it. Stay triggered until then, okay? I know I will. All right, I'll be right back in just a bit. Actually, I say just a bit. Give me a few minutes. It's going to take a few minutes. This is our first break. We've been at it for a little while, so. All right, see you back in a few. Hey, yo, what's up, guys? Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for the nice long break. Hope you guys are doing well. Man, I've been hooked on these like little PB&J cookie things lately. Found them at your local big box store. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Make them in strawberry and grape. But I don't know, I just need like little things to eat, fig bars, stuff like that, like during a break. And I don't eat on camera that much often. I wouldn't really mind it. I am a particularly like messy eater though. And I also look kind of dumb sometimes, like when I'll just like hold food in weird ways. I don't know, as a kid I was sometimes getting a little picked on for being very animated during my eating. But I you know, it's just you like to take things to the, you know, to the next level, right? Take it to the top. And I guess sometimes I looked a little too animated, you know, too into it. No, what was it's not, they're not made by Smuckers. It was something silly. Bobo's is in my head, but and you would miss this. It's kind of like at just the top of it, but it just says like PB&J on it, like I think it Bobo maybe, I don't know. Yeah, Bobo apostrophe S, BOBO apostrophe S, PB&J's. Sadly, did not sponsor this stream, so I'm not going to say that much more about them, other than they're all right. Get your like 230 calorie cookie bomb. All right, I think at this point, you know, we could walk around and talk to some NPCs. There are some, there's a little bit of replayability in this game just with doing that, going to different eras and talking to people, especially once the game opens up a bit. We might not get much new at this point. Yeah, they're not even responding that like the queen is back and stuff. Well, everyone was worried. The king freaked when the queen took off. We all thought Magus had grabbed her. Thank goodness she said, okay, so there is some different dialogue. Okay. Let me get comfy. So many earworms in this game, right? A lot of music that just sticks with you. Here's your destroyed bridge. And one of the best backgrounds on the Super NES. Donkey Kong Country 2's got a lot of good ones too. That frog made it across by swimming to the other side. Oh, okay. Interesting. So telling us where Frog went to. So at this point they're telling you, yep, Frog totally inaccessible to you. He's swam over the gap there, the gulf, past the destroyed bridge. I just think one of the things that's fascinating to me is, like, you know, Rhizone, you mentioned earlier how some of these devs, it feels like they lived the game, you know, while they're making it and stuff. And I really think that there is something to that, especially at the time when these development staffs were still, you know, pretty small. And these are games that, you know, for their home market are going to be AAA games. Chrono Trigger coming out, you know, they already hyped it. The Dream Project. Hitting the beef jerky. You can knock out a 1 pound bag in one sitting. So I haven't bought beef jerky in a long time, but I do remember, yeah, being surprised at the price. Oh my God. And it is very, Yeah, it's one of the more snackable things. What do you... Yeah, you're just going to eat like 1 or 2 pieces, you know. Come on. How do we get home? Your Highness, Princess, we... Please, call me Marl. There's this stuff I've been having lately. Shoot, what are they called? It's like Louisiana jerky or something? I can't quite remember. Something along those lines. But yeah, it's this like a gochujang. This like a Korean barbecue jerky that's really good. Louisville. I think that's the name of it. Louisville jerky. I think that's it. Luca, you're amazing. Ain't it the truth? Oh, I mean, enough with the false modesty. You have a real gift. I would trade my royal ancestry for your genius in a heartbeat. Well, if you say so. Yeah, I appreciate this here, you know, right? Marl is very uplifting. It's great. I don't know, she's a great character. Luca, anyway, I call this thing a gate. Love Luca, too. It's a kind of portal that takes you to the same location in a different era. Gates are very unstable, so I use the principle behind my telepod device to create a gate key. Bum, bum, bum. Sweet. Now we can use them as we please. But why did this gate suddenly appear? Either the telepod had something to do with it, or something else made it. I like everyone's doing their like puzzled face right now. Chrono's got a good one. It's the thinking, you know, head down. Everybody's got their head tilted a bit. I love the different sprites. There's not, you know, each character just has a few of them, but it's fun. Marl's got her arms crossed as well. Luca's doing a similar thing. That's funny. No Man's Sky was fun on release. Yeah, I haven't played No Man's Sky. I heard that I think it had like really high expectations, right? It was like a big highly anticipated one. This was still a bit during my hiatus, I think. Let me see. Back in the fair. I forgot. Yeah, we go to the present. Then we go to the present, then the trial, then the future. That's right. Look, the graphics look great. Survival game. I should know more about it. I've definitely seen the title some, but yeah. Chrono, Luca, why don't you come home with me to the castle? I'd like you to come over for dinner. Sorry for putting you through all that, Marl. Are you joking? That's the most fun I've had in months. And I have some new friends, too. Chrono, be a gentleman and take her home. I've got some work to do. See, Luca's smart. She doesn't get arrested here. She goes home. See you soon, Luca. Luca can smell a rat. Marl said, will you escort me home, Chrono? Yes, I will. That's cool. Yeah. That's right. I heard, I think that's the context I heard about it. And not knowing anything else about the game, I try to I can only, you know, I'm not gonna like write off a game just because of that. But there's been a couple games like that I'll almost know nothing about because I wasn't paying attention to any hype or part of the conversations, and then what I will hear is, oh, it didn't do well on launch, and then the whole conversation goes into, yeah, was the game saved later? You know, Cyberpunk, I guess, being one of those. Oh, I meant to look at the wiki. I think it'd be really, really difficult. I mean, I don't do anything involving game dev, so I was about to say, I think it'd be really difficult to make a game, of course. I'm just saying, like, I think, yeah, they have so many people. It takes so many people to make games as big as they get. I do have a PS4. All right, so I guess at this point, oh, is what's his name still there? Melchior? Still chilling? Yeah. Melchior the Swordsmith. Sure. Yeah, it is easy to just put something out, and it's more the exception when they fix it in the, you know, fix it through the updates. There was one that I was looking at just because I'd played a lot of Grand Theft Auto a long time ago, and I did play 5 when it got ported to PS4. So I was looking at that like collection that came out a couple years back or something, and I think it was pretty bad upon launch and has since been updated a few times. And I don't know, I think like I was seeing something maybe at the last update I saw somewhat recently. I think some were saying, okay, they finally fixed a lot of the issues, and maybe I know that they had some issues with like San Andreas, I think, in the collection, and that it was just the furthest from, you know, like what you would want out of a port, out of the original trilogy. Or, you know, 3D trilogy or whatever they call them. But yeah, I guess something about that was fixed and an update. To what extent? Load sword, huh? Okay, that's only like a difference of a few. We can chill on that. Save some money. Nope. All right, yep, I think at this point, let's go say hi to Mom, and then, hello. My, how nice. I've only seen you with Luca. Who's your pretty new friend? Hi, I'm Marl. Hey, Marl? Like the A? Shh, I didn't need that second one there. Hey, Marl? I'm sure I've seen you before, dear. Now, where was that? I like how they show Marl kind of step back into the lineup there, like, oh. Because of where we were standing, it looked like she sort of hid behind Chrono for a second. All right. Ooh, she's onto us. He's gonna go upstairs and take a snooze. Oh yeah, I wish I could play my original versions. No longer have those. Well, I may. I don't have a PS2 or anything that could play it. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, too, sometimes like with some of those like remasters as well. You know, if it's your only way to play it, that's one thing, and you really want to play it, sure. You know, then it's better than nothing, of course. But looks wise, it often doesn't do it as much for me as, yeah, especially if I've played the original versions. And this sounds like, yeah, play them however you want, but yeah, some of that old stuff does not really look that great to me when it's coming in so clean, and it doesn't have that like additional scuzz, you know, just a little, you know, I think emulated, and especially if you're using some kind of like, with a lot of these old games, you can really clean stuff up, or like have like a really like crazy frame rate on a game that would have run a bit more stuttery or at a bit of a slower frame rate. And I just don't think that really looks great when you do that lots of times. Yeah, those remasters, it looked interesting. I guess they were buggy and stuff when it came out, and I walked back in here trying to go to the castle. But yeah, you know, like in some ways it's good. You have a better draw distance and stuff like that in a lot of these remasters, but then some objects that would have kind of benefited from being seen on a CRT and not being blown up as big as they are today. And even if you do this like HD kind of, some groups are doing like a quick like AI upscale without like checking to see how everything looks. And but yeah, I don't know, it just these old games can look a little too clean to me, especially having played the old stuff. I'm just kind of used to it, you know, but I'm playing this on an emulator, I guess. This is the SNES Mini. It's not every game either that does that. Just certain games, you know. Yeah, totally. Well, you know, since we're playing this game, you know, and just thinking of Squaresoft or Square Enix, whatever, there's a lot of, they've put out like a lot of remasters of all these games at this point. Some of them they've done that like HD treatment for, like the Final Fantasy HD remaster. You know, some of that stuff looks pretty cool. Sometimes they've also done like a lot of mobile stuff as well, and sometimes that stuff doesn't really look that great. Sometimes it can vary in quality. One of the things I don't really like are a lot of the menus that they use these days with like a very clean text and a really big text box. You know, like even much bigger than what you're seeing here. That looks kind of big, right? Like down at the bottom, but like, you know, just using these really large boxes and then having like a little small font. Dragon Quest, what I've seen at the DQ3 remake, which looks cool. I'd like to play that Dragon Quest 3 one. I'd like to play that eventually. I'm playing the Super Famicom remake of it right now, so I can't. I'm not gonna be playing another version of this game for a little while, I don't think. But yeah, I do think that one looks pretty sweet overall. I'd like to play it sometime, but I don't like a lot of the text menus and stuff. It just, I don't know why some of that stuff gets, it's just like different design, sort of different design philosophies, I think. I don't know. It's interesting. Or just how that's changed over time. Yeah, very strange. I've only seen him a couple times. Did you? Are you seeing one now, Nick? I should even go look at it, because as I got into it, I was like, you know, I'm not too familiar with that. I've seen like a little bit of footage, and but I knew from the seeing some of the stuff I'd seen, screenshots and whatnot. Yeah, you just had these like gigantic text boxes, and little tiny text. Yeah, you can catch this stuff on a good sale. I think Square, well, maybe they wrapped it up, but there was as of a week or two ago, there was a sale. I wonder if it's still happening. A lot of stores, they were doing discounts. You can catch things on a pretty good discount sometimes. And that's cool. Yeah, $9.99. That's not bad. Okay, sorry. We're gonna finally get into... I didn't go into the castle, did I? That's okay. I'm just loving the hangout, you know? I just want to talk games all day, not play them. No, I do want to play too. All right, I'm hitting the inn, and then we're going through these woods, and we're getting Nadia back home. I don't know why. I don't get it. Maybe quick localization. Those games get ported into a lot of, translated into a lot of different languages. So, maybe you use a big ass text box so that it covers pretty much whatever language version of the game you might be playing. Especially since they do a lot more in terms of like, worldwide releases these days. I think maybe there's some things, some decisions are being made because of that. Whereas before, yeah, you might have had a longer gap or whatever between the Japanese release and worldwide releases. Yeah, I don't know. I got KOTOR, yeah, I saw it on a recent sale for Switch. I got that too, Kevin. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. I played it back in the day, but... Played it as a... Yeah, I played it at one point in high school. I remember I just had like only one other buddy that was into those games big time. Funny, just some funny. That was one of my first games that was that type of RPG with like a lot of dialogue decisions. And that stuff also really, like, I know JRPGs are based on this, but that stuff kind of goes more explicitly D&D. But it's all under the hood. You can still play through those games, with like kind of a minimal understanding of that stuff, which I think is honestly a good thing. And then if you really want to understand what's going on, then, I think that could be a good bridge for people into other RPGs, tabletop, etc. Yeah, we're peeking under the hood, Captain Nemo. Yeah. What are you doing? The Princess Nadia said to... Idiots! Detain him! There's like a little noise, I think. As I guess, what do they knock Chrono out? Yeah. I think I remember that about it. I played and beat both of those games, and then it was just like they were out of my life after that. There's some games like that. And you're really into it while you're playing it. It may have been one and done for both of those games for me. And, what's interesting is too, when I did a little research about this last time, folks were discouraging people from buying KOTOR 2 any other way other than like whatever way would allow you to. I think it was like an older version of it or something, not the current Steam version, but an older version that would allow you to. It was a very unfinished game, and I don't really know the whole score here, but to some extent, I think some folks have put together quite a bit of content. I don't know what all was actually in the game or what all they just sort of had to guess at, and it's just sort of fan hack essentially, but like there was a lot of stuff from KOTOR 2 that got cut apparently. It was a really rushed game. It had like a really terrible deadline. And maybe it came out at some other point via DLC, some of it. I don't know. It's some combination of fan plus DLC stuff gets you like a couple, it's like we're talking like a couple extra scenarios, couple extra like planets and storyline beats, I guess. And all right, guys, we're having a trial. We're on trial. This part's fun. So in this game, when you're playing it for the first time, hopefully you don't know about this. I knew about it going in, so we made some decisions along the way. Just what I could remember. I don't think we may not even be innocent. I might not have done enough of the right stuff. We'll see. But the things that you've done up into this game, certain decisions, come to judgment here. Members of the court, we now bring forth the defendant, Chrono, who is charged with abducting Princess Nadia. It is a game I felt like I had my fix after I beat the first one. I did feel that way a little while before I got on 2. What shall we do with him? Fire, perhaps? Hang him upside down for a few years? Jeez, man. Or shall we employ the guillotine? You, the jury, shall decide his fate. Now let us begin. Chrono, you are hereby ordered to tell the truth. Chrono is charged with premeditated abduction of royalty. The question is, did he kidnap Princess Nadia? The answer? What are you going to say, Pierre? You better have a good argument, man. This is my public defender. He said he's the best lawyer that no money could buy. So here we go. No, he did not. In fact, no abduction took place. You can't see it in the game, but he looks over at the judge or looks over at the jury and does a little. It really just lays it on thick with the air quotes, And Chrono's kind of like, this guy's a total dweeb, dude. He's gonna lose this case. No, he did not. In fact, no abduction took place. Yeah. The two met completely by accident. In fact, the princess asked Chrono if she could join him. Again, Chrono's over there like, Is this true? Who actually started this whole mess? I think if you say I did, you're instantly screwed. If you say Marl did, they don't like the answer, but if depending on like I can't remember, like they get some memory of someone running into you or something. I can't remember. I'm gonna say I did. Just as I suspected, the defendant deliberately tried to get near the princess. Maybe you weren't supposed to say that. Yeah. Hey! Ouch, that hurt. The princess then innocently followed you to Luca's little sideshow. whereupon you both disappeared. If that wasn't criminal abduction, I don't know what is. And I have facts that throw the defendant's character into question. I think I whiffed on that first one. I think I was supposed to say she started it. And it's like the answer is still not great, but it puts you in a positive. I don't know. I can't remember. Objection. This can't have any relevance whatsoever to this case. Care to respond, Chancellor? Chrono's character is at the very core of this case. We have nothing to hide. We have a witness. Forgive me if I don't. We have a witness. All right, I gotta do it now. A little girl who will vouch for the character of the defendant. This nice man, he brought me my kitty. Thank you for being so kind. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's cute there. How about that? Doesn't this young man deserve a medal? Phew. Looks like he says this a little too loud too, like leans into Chrono. Phew. Looks like they're buying it. And Chrono's like, shut the fuck up. The issue here is motive. Was there any motive for this fine citizen to kidnap Princess Nadia? No, there was none. What about ransom? Chrono, her fortune did tempt you, did it not? I can't remember how all this plays out, because it's like... I know I've done this before, but yeah. I think if I say no here, it will show... At some point it shows me running for the medal, but another point maybe it shows you trying to sell it to Melchior. I don't know, I'm just gonna say no. Are you sure? You really weren't tempted? Not at all, or just a bit? That's enough. I have no more questions. It is evident my client is a fine, noble young man. Your Honor, the defense rests. Members of the jury, if he is guilty, stand to the left. If innocent, stand to the right. So we didn't have the old man and his food, because we didn't eat his food. That's one of the scenarios. What else is there? Did I just luck my... There's going to be one guilty. I didn't get all... I swear I didn't look this up this time. A long time ago, I have looked into the outcomes and tried to get a perfect one. All right. Oh, there's one more. Order in the court. I definitely didn't eat that man's meal. Randomly clicking on objects. Oh, totally. HP MP restored. You get a little rewarding sound, and you know that information pops up on the screen for you. So, shit, I ate that man's meal so many times. He kept going and getting another one, and I was farming some, I don't know, some ability points or whatever with Robo. Sorry, not Robo. What's his name? Gato. A verdict has been reached. The verdict is not guilty. Yes. But the fact remains that even if he did not kidnap her, he ran off with her. 3 days solitary confinement as punishment. Take him away. Nadia's like, / Marl's like, now just a darn minute. I like this. She's doing her like, I'm pissed. Arms folded. Giving him the Kubrick stare. Oh. Stay tuned, Kevin. Yeah. We got sentenced to 3 days. 3 days solitary confinement because we still ran off with the princess. You know. She objects. That's enough, my dear. But father, all I asked was for you to behave like a princess. Even royalty must obey rules. Leave the rest up to the chancellor and forget about the events in town. We're leaving. Nah, man. Chrono and Marl, they can never forget about what they've been through. Chrono! Love the stained glass there. Oh, we're getting some good, like, this is gonna be played on like an oboe or something. Yeah. This terrorist has tried to overthrow our kingdom. I like the Chancellor's theme. He has been found guilty, and you must now carry out his sentence. There's 3 days solitary confinement. So this is the monster who kidnapped the princess. Yeah, so he just comes in and says, he just comes in with saying the verdict was that you're guilty. The justice system is rigged. Oh, man. We're gonna have to ninja our way out of here. Do not let him out of your... Don't let him out of your sight. Execution? Strange, I don't seem to recall hearing anything about an execution. What? How dare you question me? How dare you question me? The paperwork's probably just been held up in the system. Understood, sir. Guards. Take the prisoner away. Damn. Knocked Chrono out. So, ultimately, you can't avoid prison. You get the same result. Some sympathizers brought that stuff for you, you lousy felon. What a jerk. Oh, I think I cut that off. We got an ether among some other things. The trial. So one cool thing about this game, I think it's just a sweet touch for a game from 1995, a Super NES game. There are a ton of these different eras of the game, or it's subdivided by these different titles that you save by. I just always thought that was really cool. And whenever you load up a save one, you know, I'm looking at like old stuff here, and it's, yeah, you know, of course these are titles from certain points towards the end. But yeah, something to look out for. There's also an enemy that you can fight during different ages. And sometimes, yeah, it can be worthwhile trying to hit them before you get to your next like storyline beat, you know, that may like change the title here. The game's not that long. It's a cool length. We're really taking our time with it, but 2 days until execution. No, you might as well. Yeah. Oh, winning the trials just for show. Yeah, I don't think you actually get anything for it. Damn. That's what you get for misbehaving. Take him out, Chrono. Nice. Where do you think you're going? I have to admit, as a kid, I got, hey, as an adult, I still get pumped sometimes watching Chrono like go into his action stance. and some of the hits he will do, and then like flying back to where he came from. They just made him look so cool. The Toriyama touch. It's the Toriyama touch. I forget. Maybe you can't go in there. Maybe you can later or something. Locking myself out. Yeah. Right. So it's nice to have a character witness, you know? I was guilty as hell the first time I did it. I think I screwed everything up. Maybe I had the cat. There's some other when Melchior asks you if you'd be interested in selling, so he'll stop you and Princess Nadia, you and Marl, and he'll ask about her, or like, would you be interested in talking her into selling her pendant or something like that, or asking her if she'll sell her pendant. That's one of the things. I'm pretty sure that is. If you say yes there, then it doesn't actually, nothing happens, they don't start haggling, but that's used against Chrono, I believe. Also, there's like desserts. She stops to get some lollies, stops to get some candy at one point. And if you move too soon during that scene or go talk to her, there's a point when she's like trying to figure out what she wants. And she's like, give me a second. And you're able to walk your character around. And if you walk away or if you talk to her, I believe that's going to be another strike against you in the trial, because she says something about you being impatient, and I guess that gets seen by somebody, or he couldn't even wait long enough he was just so desperate to get her out of there. They weren't hanging out. He was so desperate to get her out of there, obviously. Oh crap. So you're the escaped con. Hello, Omnicron. Whoops. Should have done something different to you. Yeah, so I think if you, well, I wonder, did they mention that in the trial? Did that come up? I can't remember if that happens if you just walk away. I was thinking it does. At the very least, I think if you go and talk to her during that, while she's trying to figure it out, I think it counts against you, yeah. Some fun stuff, yeah, fun stuff. And some, there are things that are consequential in the game, but then there's always the mercy of it. I'm gonna pop upstairs. The new game, the game not being that long, and therefore a new game plus being doable, even if you don't go right into it, could be a fun thing to do at some point, starting the game with all your stats. Okay, yeah, that's funny. Right. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that dialogue in a long time. That's funny. Yeah, I thought I remembered this, some of the stuff that you needed, but I really was surprised that we got it all. And there's a little hidden point system behind it all, Funny when games do that kind of stuff. And FF7 there's between 3 different characters, you can basically set up one scene that's essentially a date. When you go to this one place in Final Fantasy VII, Gold Saucer? Is it Golden Saucer or Gold? I can't remember. Gold or golden? Anyway, it's basically like this gaudy Vegas, you know, like crazy entertainment district. Like Vegas, also out in the middle of nowhere, you know. Yeah, that might have been, I guess that's the only point you had towards yours, yeah. Yeah, you know what's funny is part of what surprised me was how quickly it all went, and it's because there isn't much positive character witnessing. There's only like the girl, I guess. I wonder, you know, I did answer that first question when he asked if I started it. I said yes, and I wonder, saying no, I'm trying to remember what plays out there, and I think they show you running into her and then going to be the first one to pick up the pendant as this like, oh, you're lying, you know, you did start it. So maybe you're supposed to say yes there. Oh, he's like, you know, you went and got the pendant before checking on her. I think that's one of them, maybe. I can't quite remember. No. So I think once we get up to this guy, we can take him out from behind. I believe that's all we have to do here. Oh, shit. Whoops. Okay. I'll fight you now. Yeah, so like, because we did I think because I did things right, it just made the whole trial very short, because there just wasn't much. I admitted to the first thing, which I guess turns out is maybe the right answer, and then I had the cat. I saved the cat, and then nothing else was brought up because everything else would have been negative, I believe. Selling the pendant, running away from the, you know, or talking her into selling the pendant, running away from her during the candy sequence, eating the lunch, and I think that's about it. Yeah. Shadow, yeah. Hey, she does walk kind of crazy. It is very easy to run. When I did run into her when we were playing on Monday, I actually didn't mean to at that point. I was going to do a couple things before I ran into her, and I just sort of absentmindedly wasn't thinking about it, and I ran totally right up in the area where she would be, and of course, yeah. Hey, buddy, I think you should get up now. Help me. Save him? I'm going to save him. If I know my JRPGs, hopefully we won't be regretting having saved this guy later, but I'm Fritz. My dad runs a store in Truce Village. Stop by if you're in the area. Thanks, Fritz. I don't think it's anything big. Hey, a discount. Got a, what is that, like an Iron Maiden? Is that what they're called? I don't think I've even explored this whole area yet. This may be the end. Let me see. Oh, no? Okay. These guys are going to come to life, right? I have a lot of HP, I think. I didn't run into her. She ran into me. I swear. Run the tape back. Oh, I could see something like that being taken out at that point. That's interesting. At least in that particular situation. Yeah. You ever checked out the cutting room floor? There's some good stuff there in terms of you know, talking about differences between games, differences between regions. And since I've started playing a lot of Japanese stuff, I found myself on that website, tcrf.net, I believe. Yeah, really good for, you know, it'll show, I mean, it goes, sometimes you might even, sometimes I just want like an even higher level like summary, because it can go really in depth with certain games that are just really well researched. But yeah, differences between versions, differences between, yeah, it's not just languages, but yeah, also like detailing differences between each version of releases and stuff. And yeah, there can be some really fun stuff, and you know, talks of like, you know, cultural sensitivities, censorship, etc. I don't know, that stuff is really fascinating. Sometimes, especially with the Japanese versions, you get, you know, you get their first version of it, and I'm not going to call it a beta. That sounds a little, you know, it sounds mean. Better than a beta version. But yeah, something like Majora's Mask, there were, you know, there's just quite a few bugs, and then some mechanics for like the Zora, you know, Zora Link and stuff, where they still needed to be ironed out in the Japanese version. There's a couple of like kind of just misses, like go to this area and it doesn't play the right music if you go at night or something like that, you know. Just a few things like that oh shoot, we're already here, huh? Supervisor, calling for backup. Oh, Luke is there. Knocked his ass out. Bonk. All right. Gee, it looks like you didn't need my help after all. Let's blow this joint. I'm gonna save, and I might actually see if we can go backwards. And not that there's anything great. I don't think there's anything like must have, but we didn't explore a good portion of this area of this dungeon. Top secret document has been left behind the floor. Care to read it? Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, I was gonna say which cards, Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh, okay. Prison sewer strike. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, here you're getting some spoilers about how to take on this boss. Tank head repairs body damage. Contains a shield that prevents damage by lightning and fire. Unless the head can be defeated, the tank is undefeatable. I think knocking out the wheels helps too, but yeah. At some point. Yeah, that's interesting. I think the changes over time with something like that too can be... you know, I don't have that much experience with Yu-Gi-Oh, but yeah, I think of Pokemon and how some of those Pokemon changed over time, evolved. No, like, you know, art styles getting very different, and seeing the same Pokemon drawn in very, very different ways. Oh, wow. So, I forgot that this exists here. So yeah, this isn't the way you get out. I think you get out from like a different, you know, you run back to that bridge or whatever. I really just wanted to go back through this area. So our exit is there. And we came... Now, you know what? I don't think there's much else for us. Maybe something back in that cell next to where we were, but... Let me get equipped. Sight scope, what was that? Like, I'm trying to remember what that does. Shows enemies HP. That is nice. She could go a little faster too, but I think we'll be alright. Our gun. Yeah, hide cat. Oh, maiden suit I think is her best right now. Yeah. Cool song. Yeah, I think... Oops. I gotta pay attention to these guys. And by pay attention, just wait until you're supposed to be able to hit them. Till they reveal themselves. Yeah, the standards change. It's interesting, too, because, you know, there's different kinds of censorship as well. And, like, and, you know, I think... Isn't it, like... I don't know, it was like not that long ago. I'm a little out of my depth here, but I remember reading something about like Japanese standards having gotten tougher too, and like their rating systems, they're just being cracking down a lot harder and giving like a much higher rating, something that AAA game just couldn't have and come out and be sold, you know, everywhere, whatever. I guess that some of their standards, some of the things that they crack down on, yeah, it's like tighter than ever. But yeah, where are those lines drawn? Then again, it might just be too that they're trying to hit, you know, you could still sell well at this one label, but you really want to hit this one that, you know, maybe a certain percentage of parents just won't buy for their kids unless their kid is that age or something. And maybe there's some situation going on like that too. I don't know. But it does seem like, yeah. Different standards. All right, you know what? I got to wrap this up soon. I apologize for all the coughing. It's starting to... I've just been a bit sick these last couple weeks. I'm just lingering. Give me just 1 second. Okay, thanks for that. All right. Well, you know what? I say we just get back into it. There may be an item or two back there we've missed, but it's all good. It's all good. There was an interesting article that I found recently, and it was by man. So it got picked up by a bunch of outlets, but I'm trying to remember where the original interview was from, but drawing a blank. But it was with the creator of, you know, Smash Bros, Kirby, etc., Masahiro Sakurai. And in that interview, so the headline was, as you know, they often are, clickbait, in that it said, the headline said, like, Masahiro Sakurai says something about, like, I'm trying to remember how it was worded, but it was like, it was talking about, like, Japanese games shouldn't bend to Western standards, was like the headline. And that was a portion of like what he was saying in it, but it was funny because when you get into it, as all, like, you know, this, he is very, like, it's funny because he couched it all with, this is only my opinion, and it was very was a very specific point made, and then went on to just couch it with all this like, but please, people should make games how they want to. If you're making the game you want to, that's da-da-da. Like, that was his main point. And also he said, and please, I'm getting out of the game. I'm on my way out. Like, don't, you know, people should make... I'm just one opinion of many, you know. Don't make the game you want and stuff. But when I got into the article, I'll see if I can find it and share for you guys. But yeah, it was interesting. He made a great point. His point was that, like, he does think that Japanese studios sometimes fall into the trap of worrying about that worldwide release. And in doing so, the decisions made at every step or whenever or whatever step in the process get introduced, and they get a little further away from maybe what their like original vision of it would be, or that the danger with that is that you may start to make, of course, sacrifices, or you're pulling this or that because you're only thinking about that worldwide audience, and that begins to guide, you know, every step of the process. Or he wasn't saying every step, just that, like, he thinks that can work sometimes, and that Japanese devs did this and publishers did this because, you know, there was that time when American games really started to rise, and, you know, all the shooters and all the big AAA titles and all those American and UK studios in the West were making these big games that were like worldwide popular, and Japanese devs and publishers were starting to, they didn't have that like near monopoly that they'd had for a while, and so they started to adapt more of those ideas about, like, how can we make our games for you know, a worldwide audience, etc. And he was saying that, yeah, what they're missing with that, and I'll get to this fight in just a second, but I thought that this was a good point. What they're missing with that is that can work. However, what a lot of Western gamers want is a particularly Japanese product, one that was created maybe originally by a Japanese audience and intended for a Japanese audience in terms of the writing, in terms of the cultural, like, not I'm only making this for my people, not that, but just like a, hey, I am going to write it in my voice and in my experience, and I'm going to write it for an audience that knows this stuff. And maybe, you know, a lot of these games, you know, like even in the Japanese version, so some people think with this game there's some silly names of the bosses and stuff, like Flea / Ozzy, you know, stuff like that. It was done as localization, but Japanese games do that kind of stuff all the time, you know, like pop culture references, little things like that, you know, in their games. And, you know, not all of that is what can be translated directly. It wouldn't always hit with an international audience. I guess what he was trying to say was that, like, people, he does think that there are a lot of Westerners who want to play those games that were probably intended mostly for a Japanese audience, and that they wouldn't want there to be all these changes made along the way, only thinking of, like, the Western audience, that, you know, yeah, that there's a balance to it. And I think that's true, you know. I think that's like, that is the case for a lot of us, and there's a place for localization. Head repairs damage. All right, better take the head out. Let's see. I think we want to just, like, I think I need to be careful. Like, you don't want to hit too many parts at once, but I can't remember. Oh, shoot. That didn't. Yeah. I think, until, you know, for the most part, I was until I got into high school, and then, yeah, that was a situation where, okay, now Yeah, my parents had split up, so I just had a little bit less supervision by default, so I was able to get away with a little Grand Theft Auto. I need to be careful here. Alright, let me take this head out. Chrono, you keep doing what you do, buddy. Luca can heal. For now. You know what? Anyway, thanks for hanging. Been really talkative tonight. I know it can be a little much, but yeah, that's part of the fun. That's why I'm playing a game with the camera on right now, to hang out. All right. I don't want to use magic because that gets stored in the wheels. I think that was the... Yeah, they mentioned that earlier. Just gonna give myself a little heal here. Dang, we gotta make some damage on him too. Shoot, what did I do? I'll probably get through... Well, hopefully get through this fight and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, I think we'll be able to get dispatch Dragon Tank here. Energy is stored in the wheel. Where's the P stored? Oh shoot. I need to heal. I might have screwed up there. Okay. Oh, totally, yeah. Oh, there's all kinds of sacrifices, yeah, being made, and it's... Yeah. It's crazy to think about the crunch, like you mentioned Chrono Trigger, and that game was, man, he's just healing himself a lot. I need to be able to do a little more damage. I think if Chrono, if he hits the Cyclone, can he do that and just hit the head? Or not just the head, but hit the head good, but and everything else too. I should be doing that. First and foremost. Gotta hit the head. Alright, head's dead. Head's dead, baby. Now I think we can have some fun. I think Slash rips pretty good in here, because you don't want to... I think if you use fire on the wheels, it would have... Oh, okay. Destroy the wheels next. Honestly, I need like a... I'm just gonna try to get... Since they can't repair itself anymore, I'm just gonna try to get us, Chrono, in good shape to attack for a few rounds, and then... If I do this... Oh, I do have a mid-tonic. That's nice. Whoops. A little too tonic-y, but that's okay. I could have used maybe a little more leveling up. Also, we skipped some of the rooms in that little dungeon, so... Little dungeon. Nice. Oh, just 33. Come on. There it is. Love this part. They got the dragon tank. Fix it quickly. Yep. Love this part too. You can take your time with it as well. Could heal up now if you really wanted to. You could even run back and save, I think. Crazy enough. That's funny. Don't fool yourselves into thinking you've gotten away with this. I'm too tired to read a whole sentence at once. Oh, hey. Oh. Wait, we're back in the... Okay. Hold on. Can I open this now? I don't know. I think I can. Hooray, a shelter. Ba-ba. Ba-ba. Yeah, it sounds good, Kevin. I'm wrapping it up soon myself, but yeah, thanks for hanging out, and yeah, have a good cat nap. Take care. Have a good night. Thanks for coming in. They're escaping. We have no choice but to break through. Ah! Zigzags, they can't get you. Ah, ah. We're gonna need a Deus Ex Machina. Just in time. This is my friend, showing some respect. But can't you take orders? Of course. Hold it right there. Oh, here comes the Chancellor, that MFer. Do as King Guardieth. I need that one later. You're gonna need that sound effect in a couple minutes. Do as King Guardia the 33rd says. Father. Silence, Princess Nadia. The throne comes before your personal wishes. What? Just because I have a title doesn't mean I'm not a person. You pick up strange ideas venturing outside. Jeez. I didn't pick up anything. It's called common sense. Princess Nadia. I despise you. I'm leaving. Yikes. Awkward. Takes off the royal garb, goes back into her commoner clothes. Come on, Chrono. Cast aside her royal wardrobe. Don't just stand there. After them. Oh, that one guy's stuck up there. I don't know if I've noticed that before. Maybe like they freeze in position, I guess, based on... Because you have a level of latitude running around in that room, huh? That's funny. There they are. Don't lose them. We run right, and there's a portal. There's no escape. Silence. Silence. It's funny how, close in the first few areas are, but you can feel like you've already done a lot, even at this point in the game. Still quite early on. And you're about to go to your third time zone, third era, I guess. Looks like a dead end. A gate. Come on. But we don't know where it'll take us. Who cares? This place stinks anyway. Life's a piece of shit. Come on, why don't we just jump in this gate? Princess Nadia. Oh, where's the one dork that got hung up on the stairs? This is completely irrational, says Luca. Hurry, Chrono. We're just hopping into these. Also, it's worth noting, second time now, and they haven't had a chance. This whole game is like this. They haven't had a chance to really stop and figure out what's going on. They'll get a couple of those moments, but they're always a little behind the 8 ball, huh? But yeah, this is the second gate that has appeared, and they didn't create it. Luca didn't use her. Right? It was just there when we walked in, I think. They disappeared. Look at the Chancellor's sprite. It's great. You can't believe it. Cool game. Eek! Thrown out. Look where we are now. Youch! The dusting off is funny. There's no way the Chancellor can reach us here. But where are we? Where is here? The civilization here seems so advanced. This just in. Our characters find themselves in the distant future. Like we're in another world. Funny that you can go back right there. I'd forgotten about that. All right, we have made it to the future. Here it is. From the past into the future. And right on cue, I can't find that sound effect I had earlier, but that's okay. I got a whole bunch of them. They just disappear all the time. All right, we're all saved up beyond the ruins. This can be a tough part of the game. We'll probably need to do a little leveling up because I've been a little... I've kind of skimped out on that a couple times. So we might need to do some leveling up. There's a bit of a level check coming up soon. So, all right, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. I do need to get out of here. Let me check something real quick. I'm going to go to our schedule in just a bit, but let me see. Whoopsie. Okay, not very nice. Sorry, I lost my window. There it is. Yeah, all right. I'm going to see if there's anyone rolling right now that maybe we can raid into. You know what? I think I'm going to have to call it. Yeah, I've just got to get... Oh, no. Ichigo Dave is playing. We've got to go see that. All right, let's go jump into his. I'll try to get us in there in just a minute. Let me go to the schedule. Yeah, we'll hang out with Ichigo Dave. That'll be fun. All right. That's cool. All right, let me get to the schedule. All right, friend of the stream, Ichigo Dave. Looks like he's on and he's playing Mega Man. So we should go hang with him and watch a master at work. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for joining and keeping me company. Kevin, that was fun. Yeah, thanks for the talk. Princess Hikari, thank you for the raid. You're bringing a good crew around. Rhizone, thanks for keeping me company. Cab Nemo, thanks, buddy. Good to see you. Nick, take care, man. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll play a couple sounds for you. Please stick around. I'm going to get us into Ichigo Dave's stream. He's always around here. He's good people. If you're over on Twitch and you haven't done so already, please give him a follow. Yeah. Hey, thank you, Nick. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I was trying to figure it out. I haven't thought about it today at all, man. That's crazy. Oh well. Thanks, buddy. Yep, happy streamiversary, guys. Yeah, we'll find some other way to celebrate soon, you know. But all right. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll see you guys over in Ichigo's in just a bit.
For playing my game.
Parvinator.